So finally, we have more news in regards to what we can expect for Sweet 16 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So many of you have been asking. There's been so much speculation since our friends over at lovebscott.com dropped the bomb that there was a reboot coming to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Well, now lovebscott.com has another exclusive, and we can now finally see the cast for season 16. As you already know, Porsha Williams, formerly Gobadia, Kenya Moore have both confirmed that they will be returning. There were rumors that She by Someone Else was coming back. Well, we are dispelling all of those rumors with this lovebscott.com exclusive. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So as I said to you guys before, we have been hearing all kinds of mixed news since the news broke that we were getting a reboot. And people at the time did not believe a reboot was even happening. Well, now, months later, we knew. Kandi dropped out. Marlo was fired. Sonia Richards-Ross was fired. Sheree apparently was fired as well, after there were rumors that possibly Sheree would come back maybe as a friend of. She was just full-time those last couple of seasons. Well, don't be surprised if you see Sheree over at Love and Marriage Huntsville. Now, lovebscott.com dropped an exclusive not too long ago. Look, it's very late here, okay? Please understand my dedication to the craft, but this is how we have achieved over 400,000 subscribers, and we are celebrating that all month long for a month of May, along with my birthday. Thank you for all the birthday messages. Let's get into what they are reporting, because some of this will not surprise you, and some of it will surprise you. Surprise of you? What am I speaking? It's late. But you know, I know words. Words mean things and words come together. So some of this stuff will surprise you. Some of this stuff may bore you. Because based off of what we are seeing here, I'm not necessarily excited, but we don't know these new people. At least I don't know yet. So lovebscott.com writes this. They said, "It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Dun, 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 dun." That's me adding that. The official cast for the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 has arrived. There's been a lot of chatter, but lovebscott.com is here to give you the official confirmed RHOA casting tea. So as previously announced, Kenya Moore and Porsha Williams have signed on to return and are excited to get back in the mix. You may have seen Porsha was at an event and she was talking about how she was concerned about this new season. And she said they're going to be starting to film, I think next week, this week, I can't remember, like time traveling right now. Not time traveling, but you know, traveling and time, I'm all mixed up. So Porsha's bringing along her good friend Shamea Morton, Moangi, I apologize, who will be a full-time cast member. Look, and we all know Shamea. Shamea has been a part of Real Housewives of Atlanta for years, but just in sort of a guest friend of capacity. I don't mind Shamea coming. I'm not saying Shamea has been my favorite over the years, but what I do know is Shamea has real relationships with this cast. She has real relationships. She's real life best friends with Porsha. She has a real relationship with Kenya Moore. She has a real relationship with Kandi, who's not a part of the season, but she's just been in this inner circle. So I believe that this casting is actually a smart one, and I believe that part of the reason why Shamea has not done Real Housewives of Atlanta was because her husband originally didn't want to do it. That was the word on the street. I don't know how true that is. Also, they write, "We're happy to report, Drew Sidor." We're happy to report. Speak for yourselves. Okay. I'm sorry, Drew, but look, I guess we do need some sort of continuity from last season to this season. There has been no mess playing out between Drew Sidor and Ralph, but it did get messy and ugly at the end of the season. So they said that we're happy to report Drew Sidor will keep her peach for another season. The rest of the fresh peaches rounding out the Real Housewives of Atlanta cast are as follows. Brittany Edie. I'm not familiar with her, but we will get familiar. Kelly Farrell. Okay. Angela Oakley. All right. And as a bonus, Cynthia Bailey will appear this season as a friend of the show. So you may have heard these last couple of weeks, multiple sources were reporting different things. And we reported to you before, the Neighborhood Talk said that they had a particular cast and certain people were being considered. I'm not saying that these sources were wrong. Please understand, these conversations and these contracts were not signed when people were being considered for the show. I think there were countless women being considered in Atlanta for the show. And I think some people came close to solidifying their position and things fell through. I believe the same can be said for Sheree. So instead of Sheree coming, Cynthia has maintained a very good relationship with Bravo. She's appeared on other cities. She plays a good role as a friend of, because we have to remember too, Cynthia is real friends with these women. Lake Bailey is still there. I know she's mostly in California now, but she still goes to Lake Bailey. Do you want to see Cynthia come back full time? I think Cynthia is going to be good as a friend of. She wasn't a friend of last season. They offered her a friend of during the previous season, and she declined that. And that's when, the announcement came out that she would not be returning. But I like Cynthia in this role. It will be interesting. Seeing Cynthia last season was refreshing. I know Cynthia, for a lot of people, Cynthia's boring. I don't think Cynthia has been boring. I think there came a point where Cynthia's story was finished. But I still like Cynthia. And when you meet Cynthia in person, Cynthia is Cynthia. I know Nene likes to say Cynthia's got this old... We all have that other side. We don't necessarily show that side to the entire world. But when you test someone, that side will come out. We all have that, don't we? Oh. So they report that Cynthia will appear this season as a friend of the show. And they said, and there you have it. If you're in Atlanta, keep an eye on the streets, as we hear some of the new ladies will be filming around the city today. Dun, 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 dun. And they say, as always, thanks for your continued support of lovebscott.com. Because there were people doubting B. Scott's report when they initially reported that this was happening, that a reboot was happening. They were like, not Atlanta, a reboot's not happening. The ratings were good, blah, 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 blah. No. And here we are with how many new ladies? Hold on, let's count them. 1, 2, 3. 3 new ladies. No, well, technically 4 if you want to count Shamea. That is a reboot. And a reboot doesn't necessarily mean getting rid of everyone like they did in RHOA. A reboot could very much look like what we saw with Real Housewives of Miami. Speaking of, what's going on with Miami? Miami had such stellar good seasons these last couple of seasons, but I understand for the network that doesn't necessarily translate when it comes to numbers. But what's going on? Look, what is going on with Miami? Miami has given us a lot. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin the show. The audience will come. I know for the Suits, it's sort of like we need our dollars. We don't need to build an audience. That's the microwavable society that we live in now. It's all about quickly. That happened with the music industry. That's happening with reality television. That's happening with entertainment. Have a fan base before you even develop people. The same happens with reality television. You develop, you discover new talent. That's how we had the biggest show of the network's history with Real Housewives of Atlanta. They set all kinds of records with their ratings. And this all started with people we didn't know. Of course, later on, we would get some familiar faces like Candy and Kenya Moore. But that's that was a drop in the bucket. That was a drop in the bucket. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm excited about Real Housewives of Atlanta. I will probably get excited once we get closer to the actual premiere. And as you already know, there are so many things that leak in regards to the Real Housewives. This is what's happening during the season. Look, I don't know about you. I don't care about a spoiler, but at the same time, I'm not going to report on every single spoiler just because it just feels like, well, when we finally get the season, are we going to feel as if it's fresh? Are we going to feel like, oh, we already heard about that? You know what I mean? And people start forming their opinions based off of what they've heard already. That's already happening with Real Housewives of Potomac. I'm like, I don't need to know anything about what's going on during the season. Especially when it comes to Giselle. Like, I want to wait for the seasons to come together. Because half the stuff that we're talking about, we may not even see. We didn't get the triple 20 party from Karen. So, like, I don't care. We talking about beef now that they might edit out later because something might outshine that for the season. I don't care. But I'm happy that we have some new faces in Potomac and some new faces in Atlanta. All right, and maybe some new bodies. No judgments. Guys, as always, I want to know your thoughts and reactions to the news that we have some newbies and some oldies returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta for season 16. Let's continue this conversation in the comments section. As always, be sure to like the video, be sure to subscribe, be sure to turn on your notifications, and for everything Kempire, head on over to the description for more details, including our Kempire After Dark tour coming to a city near you. Boston, we have a new date. Go check it out. I want to see you guys for Pride Month, New York City, Nashville, Atlanta. I'm coming to Atlanta in July. I'll be in Nashville in July as well. And Seattle will be there in August. More details, again, available in the description. See you then.